Hello, my name is Sofia and this is the walkthrough to OSINT Exercise 012. On my website you can find a number of OSINT exercises to practice your skills. If you have not attempted to solve this one yet, you can find the link in the description and give it a go first. If you're here because you have completed it, well done, you should be very proud. If you're here because you want to find out how to solve it, I hope you find this video useful. So welcome to OSINT Exercise 012, Task Briefing. The screenshot below shows satellite imagery from a coastal area. Each red pixel represents a 30-meter center point containing a thermal anomaly. The data is from January. Please analyze the screenshot and answer the following questions. A. Which website was used to produce the image below? B. Which is the country seen in the image? And C. The screenshot shows data from a specific date. Which is the date? You can click here to open the image on a new window and it's a bit bigger, you can see it a bit better, a bit more detail perhaps. I have marked this exercise level as the first question would be easy for both beginners and experts. The second, I'm assuming, is going to be a bit hard for beginners and probably medium level for experts. And the third one, it goes back a bit in terms of difficulty and it will be medium for beginners and easy for experts. So let's get started. I'm going to confess, I was a bit naughty on this exercise, just a bit. And I added information on the task briefing that could be misleading, just slightly. I wanted to highlight that you should always read things very well, very carefully, and not assume information that's not there. Maybe you didn't fall for my tricks, maybe you did. I will explain it all in a bit when we get there. For now, let's start with the first question, because I was not naughty on that one. So which website was used to produce the image below? If you are an expert in OSINT, you've been doing this for a while, chances are you don't even need to search that. You'll know exactly which website produced this image. But I'm going to assume you're not an expert, so we'll go through all of it. So there's two ways you can find the answer to this question. You can go the information route or the image route. So I'll go through both of them. Quite often visual data online, such as photos or videos, comes with some sort of additional information. This could be in the image caption, the body text from an article or blog entry, the hashtags, whatever. There's always something there. This means that sometimes you can just use search engines to search for visual information by describing what you're expecting to see. In this case, I gave you a very good explanation of what the image contains, so we can already use that to our own advantage. So look at that. I said each red pixel represents a 30-meter center point containing a thermal anomaly. So this is already quite descriptive of what you're expecting to see. You have a lot of red pixels all over the map and they provide information about where the thermal anomalies were occurring. So we can pick up this sentence, this one specifically, and just search for it, because it's very likely that there will be a website that has used these keywords to describe what you were expected to see. So let's Google that. So just go there, Google that. You will not find the exact sentence because this is not plagiarism. I did not plagiarize, I wrote my own sentence, but it'll contain all the keywords. And what we have there, we have nasa.gov, and let's check it out because it's very likely this is the correct one. Here we go. It says Landsat fire and thermal anomaly data, now part of firms. Brilliant. Has the map. Seems very similar. I can already see some similarities. I'm going to put the windows next to each other so we can check it out. And here we go. We have the image from the exercise 012 and we have the picture from this website. And you can see you have the red pixels. So you can also notice how these icons here are exactly the same location, same order. If you go there at the bottom, you can see that the scale is there, looks very, very similar. So it's very likely this is the same website. So let's just check it out. You can read the text. It says here, NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System firms was developed in 2007, blah, blah, blah. I don't care anymore. Let's click it. Brilliant. Okay. So there's a website. It claims there's a fire map. We're looking for a map. Let's check it out. Here we go, brilliant, that's what I was looking for. You can see the icons at the bottom are the same, so we're clearly in the correct place. This is the website we were looking for. And this is how we could have reached the answer to the first question by using the information route. But we can also try the image route by doing an image reverse search on our screenshot, because it's quite unlikely that I was the first person on this planet to ever take a screenshot of this website. So if we were to search for similar ones, we would probably get information about where they come from. So let's check it out. We open this one and do an image reverse search. I'll go with Google because I know it'll give me the results I'm looking for. Don't need to do all of them. And here we go. We have a few results. So a few results are similar to this ones in terms of how the map looks like. You can see this one is similar. This one as well, but it goes to LinkedIn. I don't want to click that. So let's go with this because it's the most similar one. Even perhaps the same coastline. It's quite similar. There's definitely similarities here. So let's check it out. And here we go. The website is about South America wine guide. So nothing to do with what we're looking for, but that's fine. But hopefully we will find a map that is similar to the one from our screenshot. Let's just go through all of it. And there we go. Found it. Brilliant. And what does it say? Again, satellite imaging by NASA shown on their firm's fire mapping website. And we can click it. And there we go. We end up on the same place. So clearly we have answered the first question. The first question was, which website was used to produce the image below? The website was the NASA FIRMS, which stands for Fire Information for Resource Management System. Brilliant. Okay, let's go to question number 2, or B. Which is the country seen in the image? There's many different ways you could have answered this question. I'm going to cover at least 2 different paths you could have taken to answer it, but as long as you get to the correct country, it doesn't really matter which path you took. So first, let's analyze what we know so far. We know this is one country because I specifically said which is the country. So already giving you some hint here. This is just one. It's not more than one. There's no borders here. This belongs to a single nation. Now let's move to the bigger picture because I want to see it a bit better. I want to see all the details. We know this is a country with a western coast. You can see this is the border, and you can see here it's water. It could be the sea, could be the ocean, could be a lake. We don't know yet, but we'll get there. But this is on the west. So this already narrows down a lot because not all countries have a coast, and the ones that do might not have on the west. We can see that there is a lot of vegetation. We have all this dark green dense area all over the place. You can see it all the way there, and this is probably forest because that's how they look like. They're very dense, they're dark, there's a lot of trees all combined in one place. You can also see there's quite mountainous, there's very hilly, there's a lot of rough terrain here, which contrasts with this section. So this section, you can see how the green is much lighter, it's probably more flat, so it could be fields. We can also see what looks like rivers. So you can see there's here, look at that. That is a river, and you cannot see through that, but here suddenly is a river. You can see it cutting through all of this mountains or terrain. There's something here. So this creates valleys where usually there's a lot of vegetation because the water is entering the land. However, the main information from the image is the huge number of thermal anomalies, and we know that they are likely fires because that's what the website said. So if you're paying attention, it says here active fires, thermal anomalies. So they're mostly giving you information about areas on the globe that are on fire or were on fire at some point. It doesn't necessarily mean it was a fire. It could have been, for example, a thermal anomaly related to a big explosion or shelling, but more likely than not, it will be fires. And because we're looking at an area that's clearly forest, it's very likely that they are forest fires. And not just any forest fires, because as I've mentioned, each pixel is a 30-meter center point. So this covers a lot of land. And this is the sort of thing that will be on the news, and we love those, don't we? So let's go back to the exercise page for just a second. I specifically say the data is from January, but if you're thinking, why would you have forest fires in January? Because when we think of forest fires, we think of them occurring in the summer or dry seasons. Is a lot harder to tackle fires because the vegetation is very dry and the fire spreads further and faster. So it's very likely that this was caused in a time when it was very hot and very dry, and therefore the fire spread and it was very hard to manage. But I have said this image is from January, and January is not a prime summer month in the northern hemisphere. So this is very likely not happening in the northern hemisphere, is it? Because if we know that this is January and this is forest fires and they were massive, absolutely massive, it's very likely that it was during the summer. And if it was during the summer, it would have been on the southern hemisphere. And this will already narrow it down a lot. So there's a lot of countries up there that we're just going to ignore, completely ignore, because it doesn't matter to us anymore. So let's look at the map now. And we're going to just pay attention to the southern hemisphere. We know we're looking for a country that has a western coast. So all of this is off. We don't care anymore. None of this could be. None of this section could be. None of that. None of that. None of Brazil. Sorry, Brazil, Uruguay. None of those. Just ignore all of them. Completely irrelevant to us now. We know that we're looking for a place that has rivers that originate in the coast and go inwards, which, to be fair, probably does not narrow it down at all because that happens everywhere. We know that there will be a forest in mountains near the coast, and this will narrow us down. There's a lot of countries that do not have mountains near the coast. And not just mountains, we also established that after the mountains, there will be some flat sections. So it's not just mountains. Mountains are just on the coast and then it becomes not mountains anymore. So we can look again at the map and we can just start scratching off some countries. So we know this is not going to be Australia. I mean, let's be honest, there is no forests there. There is some here, look at that. I'm going to put the pictures side by side so we can look at them. Here we go. So we can already establish this is not the same area. You can see how this section here is flat. This is a lot of fields. Yes, it becomes a bit forestry and mountainy, but is not following the pattern we are expecting. We want mountains with forest and then some flat section on this end here. So at first glance, we can probably just remove Australia completely from our list because the rest of the coast just does not match. So there's a few other bits. Let's put our thing back on so we can see this is the equator. So we know more or less what we're looking for. Okay, this section here. So we can check some of these islands. So this is very forestry. There's a lot of forest, very, very green, but there is very little variation between the type of terrain. So everything just looks the same from a satellite image. Look at that. Everything is green, beautiful, but yeah, just green, green, green. There's some areas there that become a bit different, but you can still see this is not the same. This is not what we're looking for. The terrain is still quite different. Also, we don't see any tiny islands here, and there's clearly loads of them. So let's zoom out again and let's keep on watching. We know the equator is more or less there. So let's go to this west coast here and off we go to Africa. So Africa, again, beautiful, but I don't see many mountains there. There is not many mountains. There's some rough terrain, but yep, there is no mountains near the coast, at least not at this level. Forests and mountains, and again, the flat bit. So again, wrong place. So that just leaves us this section here. So we have equator, we have Peru, and we have Chile. So let's look again, see, there's not much variation, and there is a lot of mountains. So this is very interesting. So we have a lot of mountains by the coast, which is literally what we're looking for. We just need the forests. Where are the forests? And there they are. There's forests. We can see mountains, we can see forests, and we can see a lot of variation between the terrain, which is what we're looking for. So now let's just find the exact spot, because this is our best guess so far. But now, instead of looking at the terrain, we're going to look at the other bit here. So there's a few dark marks on the ocean. We don't know what they are. I'm going to guess they're Recife. I am not sure. It could be something else. I mean, if you know, let me know, please. I'll be very happy to find out. But let's look at that, because they have a very interesting pattern, and it's easier to find this in the middle of the blue than it is to find this very specific shape. So looking again at the map, at this section, which is our hotspot, see if we can find this pattern, and you may be able to see it because it's there. Done. Is there, see how it is? It's the same one. So we have found this is the area we're looking for. I kind of imagine this is a person's face and the eye is closed here. This is the nose, This is the mouth and this is the chin. I don't know why, it just looks like it to me. So you can see the same here. So you have the closed eye here, you have the nose, you have the mouth, and you have the chin. And this interesting pattern here in the water. So this is one of the ways you could have done. It would have taken you a while because it would require you to go through the world map and just discard countries and coasts that do not have similar terrain. But there was another way, and if you were paying attention to my video, you would have spotted something very interesting. If you remember, on the first question, we did an image reverse search for this picture specifically, and we clicked this one because it looked quite similar, and we thought, okay, we want to find out what website contained this image because it's similar to this one. And that's how we end up here, because if you remember, we clicked it from this blog. So it was a South America wine guide, something like that, and we clicked the link, and the link was directly to this spot, which is very interesting because this spot that I have shown, and I even read the name here, is the one from our screenshot. Look at that. So depending on whether or not you were paying a lot of attention or whether or not you took this route to find out the answer to the first question, you could have ended up just a few kilometers from our area. At this point, we have enough information to answer the second question, which is the country seen in the image. The country was Chile. Okay, now to the last question, and this was it. This is the question where I was a bit naughty. Maybe you were not fooled by my nonsense. Hopefully that was the case, because it asks, the screenshot shows data from a specific date. Which is the date? And you may have remembered that I said the data is from January. However, at no point I said it was from January this year. I just said it was from January. So I feel like it was implied, perhaps, that it was January 2023, which is the current year. But I never specifically said that. So hopefully you didn't get angry at me if you got stuck in January 2023, because this image is not from January 2023. The question specifically states that the data is from a very specific date. We need to figure out the day, the month, and the year. And we know the month because I've said, and I did not lie, I just never said it was from this year. We also know that there were clearly huge fires. We have established that. The data is showing thermal anomalies from just one day. So this is not a range, this was a very specific day. So this was massive, a massive event. And like I said earlier, something this big will be in the news. So let's check it out. We know that Chile is a Spanish-speaking country, so let's tweak our search a bit to Spanish, because why would we search for keywords in English if our target country is a Spanish-speaking one, right? It's likely that this was also international news, but if it was happening in Chile, it was covered in Spanish. So for that, let's open Google Translate, and we're going to input some keywords that we know already. So what do we know so far? We know that it was forest fires, we know it was in January, so let's put that as well, and we know it was in Chile because we have found the country, and Chile is written the same way in Spanish, but that's fine. Okay, so let's search that on Google, and we have here the results. The results are obviously all in Spanish, and although I do read Spanish, I'm going to translate this for you so you can also read in English. So what does it say? Summer of 2017. We have here February 2023, but we're looking for specifically January because I have told you it was in January. And again, forest fires 2017, January to February 2017. So there's a lot of this 2017. And if you go, there's also 2023, so it is clearly happening again, and again, January 2017. So we have two very good options. It could be 2023 or it could be 2017. At this point, you already know it's not going to be 2023 because I've already said so, but if you did not know, you could also get there anyway. And how could you have done it? This has Wikipedia articles, so let's check it out. So the first one is from the forest fires in 2017, and this one is 2023. So we can check out the date because we want to specifically find the dates. And again, this is in Spanish, but I'm just going to be very nice and I'm going to translate it for you. And we're going to check out the date range because the fires didn't happen in one day and got extinguished the same day. Obviously, there was a date range and we need to find it. So let's scroll, see if we can find that information. Brilliant. Daily reports. Okay. So it seems that they happened between January 15 and January 30th. If we want to narrow it down maybe even more, we can check out the affected area because we know it was massive. So the area we were looking at had all of this. This is not small. This is a lot of hectares. So here we can see this is 200 something, 300 something, 300. So the last week of the month of January had the highest incidence of fires. So perhaps this is what we're looking at. We can also check the 2023. Let's also translate. I'm so nice to all of you. And we're going to scroll to see when this happened. Okay, look at that. February. So this was in February to March. There was no January here. So it's very likely that it maybe have happened right at the end of January, but it was mostly in February. So from this list, you could have already established that it's very likely that the picture we're looking at is from 2017. So brilliant. We know last week of 2017. Let's try to find a specific date. And how are we going to do that? We're going to use the website. So you can see here, we're already on the correct place. Remember, it was there. So let's just zoom in. We are on the right patch. So see, we are looking for this, but we're looking for this with exactly the same pattern as the one from the OSINT exercise 012. So it needs to look like this. So let's try to do that. So you can see here we are in historical mode, but we're not on the correct date. We're looking for 2017. So let's put there. And we put January, and we're going to put the last week, which is more or less was 25th. And you can see here on the side it says 2 days. We don't want 2 days, we want 1 day, because we're looking for a very specific date. So it has set itself here at the bottom to the 25th January 2017. I'm going to put the windows side by side so we can compare them. Here we go. You can see how they are not the same. So this is not our correct date. It's not the 25th of January 2017. So let's click the next one. Let's just drag it to the 26th to see, is this the date? And yes, it is. You can see, look at that. It's the same copy. This was the date that I input on this website to take this screenshot. So let's get it a bit bigger. You can see, here we go, 26 January 2017. And this answers our third and last question. See, the screenshot shows data from a specific date. Which is the date? The date was the January 26, 2017. So to conclude all of it again, which website was used to produce the image below? The image was produced on NASA Firm's Fire Information for Resource Management system. Second question, which is the country seen in the image? The country was Chile. And the last question, the date, like I said, it was the 26th January 2017. And this is how you could have solved exercise 012. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a few things. Please leave a comment. I like them. You don't need to do anything else. I don't care if you subscribe or not. It's up to you. But I like comments. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.